Fans of The Handmaid's Tale are preparing to say farewell, not only to the beloved series, but also to some of its most compelling characters. As the show approaches its final episodes, the story of June Osborne, Elisabeth Moss, and her fight against the brutal theocratic regime of Gilead reaches an emotional and dramatic climax. But amid the Resistance's growing momentum, one of June's closest allies and longtime lover, Commander Nick Blaine, Max Minghella, embarks on a harrowing final journey, marking the end of a deeply complex character arc. Throughout the series, Nick has stood as a conflicted figure, navigating the dangerous power structures of Gilead, while secretly aiding June and the Mayday resistance when he can. This duality reaches its heartbreaking peak in the penultimate episode, which aired on May 20th, as Commander Joseph Lawrence, Bradley Whitford, a key figure in the rebellion, executes a desperate and deadly plan. Lawrence plants a bomb aboard a commander's-only flight intended to assassinate some of Gilead's most powerful men. His hope is to be far away from the explosion when it occurs, thereby ensuring his own survival. However, the plan quickly becomes more complicated when Commander Gabriel Wharton, Josh Charles, unexpectedly boards the plane, and Nick is added as a last-minute passenger. In a quiet but heavy moment before takeoff, Nick tells Joseph, "She told me to give all this up," referring to June's warning to abandon the resistance and protect himself. Joseph's cold reply, "You should have listened to her," foreshadows the tragic events that follow. As the plane ascends, viewers brace for the inevitable, knowing the stakes are higher than ever. For Max Minghella, the actor behind Nick, this final chapter is deeply meaningful. He reflects on the journey of his character, a man who once betrayed the resistance by revealing June's plan, but was ultimately motivated by a complex mix of fear, love, and survival. Nick had previously sabotaged a Mayday attack on Jezebel's, a notorious brothel where high-ranking commanders indulged themselves, and which was a key target for the rebellion. Max shared his thoughts in a joint interview with The Hollywood Reporter published on May 19th, describing Nick's final scenes as a very poignant way to end. He elaborated, "I felt like a grounded version of Nick," pointing out that his portrayal focused on the human side of a man, caught between loyalty to June and his own self-preservation instincts. Max also expressed surprise at how the storyline unfolded, saying, "What I was really impressed by was how much it was not what I thought it was going to be." This suggests that the character's fate and motivations evolved organically, deepening the narrative beyond initial expectations. Meanwhile, Elisabeth Moss's portrayal of June conveys the painful complexity of love and loss amid relentless trauma. June witnesses the destruction of the plane and, with it, the death of Nick, the father of her daughter, Nicole. However, Elisabeth emphasizes that Nick is no longer the same man June once loved. "He is not the person June fell in love with," she said, referencing the dark toll the violent coup and the broader conflict have taken on him. Elisabeth explained that June's grief is layered and conflicted. As much as she can mourn the loss of the person she fell in love with, it won't trump the loss of the women who were killed at Jezebel's. These women's deaths represent a broader tragedy that overshadows individual heartbreak. The scene also carries additional emotional weight because June had seen Nick at a wedding shortly before his final mission, unaware of the grim fate awaiting him. Elisabeth noted the complexity in June's feelings, torn between lingering affection and the harsh reality of the world they inhabit. Despite Nick's mistakes and the moral ambiguity of his character, Elisabeth holds on to the belief that he would have done the right thing if he had gotten the chance to do it again. This bittersweet hope underscores the tragedy of a man caught between survival and redemption, a recurring theme throughout the series. As the series nears its conclusion, the intertwined fates of June and Nick highlight the personal costs of resistance against tyranny. Their story is emblematic of The Handmaid's Tale's larger narrative, a brutal examination of power, sacrifice, and the resilience of the human spirit. For viewers, Nick's final journey is not just an ending to a character's arc, but a poignant farewell to the complexities that made the series so compelling. In these closing moments, The Handmaid's Tale reminds us that the struggle for freedom comes at a high price, and that even flawed characters can embody courage, love, and hope amidst despair. As fans say goodbye to the show, they also mourn the loss of a character who, despite his imperfections, stood as a symbol of resistance and humanity in a world turned upside down.